Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking on a giant, seemingly impossible financial goal, saving serious money in today's incredibly demanding economy. And we're going to break it down. We are taking a huge, intimidating financial milestone and turning it into something so bite-sized you can literally start executing on it today. But first, let's just address the elephant in the room and validate a very real frustration. If you feel totally squeezed right now, the data proves you are absolutely not alone. You're working hard, you're putting in the hours, yet somehow the math at the end of the month just isn't mathing. It feels like you're running on a treadmill that just keeps speeding up. And because of that intense pressure, hitting a massive five-figure savings milestone this year, like, say, $10,000, might sound like an absolute pipe dream. No way, right? Well, actually, yes way. We are going to completely dismantle that intimidation factor today. We're going to show you exactly how to reach this number, and you won't have to live like a monk or work yourself into the ground to do it. Here is how we're going to get there. We'll start with why saving feels impossible, then reveal the $27 daily secret. After that, we'll talk about ditching budget spreadsheets, plugging your lifestyle leaks, accelerating your income, and finally paying yourself first.
All right, let's dive into section 1, why saving feels impossible. Let's look at the macroeconomic reality.
Let's start with the big picture. Why does keeping your hard-earned cash feel so ridiculously difficult right now? Well, it's not just you. It's the environment we're all operating in. Look at this. Half of the average American household spending is immediately eaten up by just two things: housing and getting around. Out of an average $78,535 in annual expenditures, a full 33% goes just to keeping a roof overhead, which is driven by severe housing supply shortages. And then another 17% goes to transportation. Most American cities are built around cars, making vehicle purchases, insurance, and maintenance totally non-negotiable expenses. And then add in the fact that food costs have surged by over 20% since early 2022. Suddenly, the picture becomes incredibly clear. Relying purely on willpower to save money, it's failing. And it's failing because the absolute bare necessities are demanding more of your paycheck than they have in recent history. So hear me on this. Your willpower isn't broken. Your strategy just needs an update to match this new reality. Which brings us to section 2, the $27 daily secret. This is our macro to micro funnel. To fix this strategy, we have to completely change how we frame the problem. Looking at $10,000 as a massive annual requirement is a huge psychological barrier. Think about it. When you tell yourself, man, I need to save $10,000, your brain immediately looks at your current bank balance, panics, and totally sets you up for failure because the number is just way too abstract. But if we break it down, $10,000 is just over $833 a month. Okay, that's better. But honestly, for a lot of us, finding over $800 a month out of thin air still feels like a really heavy lift. So let's keep going. Let's distill it further. Zooming in even closer, that monthly figure translates to under $200 a week, $192 to be exact. Now we're talking. We are starting to get into the territory of, maybe a few skipped dinners out or a localized side gig. But we can actually go one step further. And here it is. This is the real secret. Saving 10 grand simply requires finding just $27 a day. That's it, $27. That is literally the cost of skipping a single food delivery order or maybe ditching a couple of premium coffees and a pastry. It's a highly actionable, totally achievable daily target that completely bypasses the overwhelming intimidation of a five-figure goal. So how do we find it? Section 3, ditch the budget spreadsheets and why manual tracking fails. To find that daily $27, you definitely need to track your cash, but please, for your own sanity, throw away those exhausting manual spreadsheets. The data on this is actually wild. Most people quit manual budgeting within 30 days. Why? Manual fatigue and incredibly high error rates. Studies actually show 88% of all spreadsheets contain major errors. You miss one transaction, the math breaks, you get super frustrated, and you just rage quit. Automated tracking apps that link directly to your bank are really the only sustainable way forward here. You get real-time updates, AI categorization, and zero manual entry. The whole shebang just works quietly in the background. Next up, section 4, plugging your lifestyle leaks. Let's find those hidden drains. Once your tracking is fully automated, you are going to immediately spot the quiet leaks that are draining your cash. In fact, you'll likely discover that you underestimate your spending by double. It's crazy. Americans lose thousands to what we call auto-renewing ghost subscriptions, literally wasting an average of $500 a year on services they never ever use. Then there's the daily $4 coffee that is silently siphoning off over $1,248 annually. It's these minor, sneaky luxuries that slowly creep into your baseline lifestyle. Plug these leaks, and honestly, your $27 a day practically finds itself.
Moving on to Section 5, accelerate your income. This is the game changer.
Now, if cutting expenses isn't enough, or hey, if you just absolutely refuse to give up your daily coffee, which is fair, we have to look at the other side of the equation, making more money. Generating just a few hundred extra dollars a month dramatically reduces the pressure on your core salary. Think about this. If you freelance or take an online gig to make an extra $300 a month, and then sell some unused items around the house for $100, boom, you've added $400 a month. That is nearly $4,800 a year. You've just hit almost half your $10,000 goal without even touching your primary paycheck.
Finally, Section 6, pay yourself first. Let's automate your success. So, now that you've freed up the cash by either plugging leaks or boosting your income, we need to make sure you actually keep it. We're going to use an anti-hustle philosophy to make this completely effortless. See, if you wait to save whatever happens to be left at the end of the month, human nature guarantees there will be absolutely nothing left. That is exactly why paying yourself first is your absolute best defense against life's curveballs. You have to treat your savings with the exact same non-negotiable priority as your rent or your internet bill.
And here is how this flow builds on total autopilot. Step 1, your paycheck hits the bank. Step 2, an auto transfer immediately moves your savings into a completely separate account. Step 3, your bills get paid. And step 4, you get to spend whatever is left completely guilt-free. By setting this sequence up via direct deposits, you bypass human willpower entirely. You never even see the money in your checking account, so you never feel the pinch of losing it to savings. It's brilliant.
This principle is known as Pearson's Law, and it perfectly summarizes our entire strategy today. It says, when performance is measured, performance improves. When it is measured and reported back, the rate of improvement accelerates. If you measure your finances automatically without the friction of those awful spreadsheets, and you break down massive goals into a totally manageable $27 daily metric, your $10,000 milestone basically becomes an inevitable reality.
I really hope this explainer empowered you to rethink your entire approach to money. Remember, it's not about restriction, it is all about structure. So, I'll leave you to consider this final question as you go about your day. What is the very first $27 you can redirect today to start taking back your financial control? Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and go start building that $10,000 future right now.